All right, we've talked about the fact that fractions are nothing more than division problems. So I'm sorry it's going to take me a little while to write this because my touchscreen function is broken. So this right here would be 1 divided by 4. So fractions are just division problems. So I just wanted to show you this so it might make sense. So I can take any division problem. So let's take 30 divided by 5. Now, if I multiply both of these numbers by the same, or both of these digits here by the same number, it's not going to change this problem any at all. I will still get the same answer. So I'm going to prove that to you. So let's say that I decide to multiply each of them times 6. Well, 6 times 5 is 30. And 6 times 30 is 180. All right. Now then, I'm telling you this will still be the same answer. So if you know that 30 divided by 5 is 6, 180 divided by 30 is also going to be 6. So it didn't change anything at all. So as long as I multiply by the same number, this division problem right here, which we did was 30 divided by 6, is the same answer as doing 180 divided by 30. It did not change the answer one bit. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind with fractions. All right, so now then we are coming up with equivalent fractions. So what we're trying to do was come up with equivalent fractions. And one of the things that you saw today is you could take any fraction. So I could take, for example, let's try one that we didn't do today in class. Let's try 3/11. Well, we definitely didn't make any 11ths today in class. And I can multiply this as long as I multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number and get an equivalent fraction. And as I have said many, many times in class, you have to use the same number, numerator and denominator, because right here, this 2 over 2, that's 1. So we're not changing the value any. We're multiplying it by 1. It is going to be the same thing. So 3 times 2 is 6. And 11 times 2 is 22. So another way of writing 3/11 is to write 6/22. Is the way we would say that. So these are equivalent fractions. Now, since it works one way, it's got to work the other way. In other words, if it works with multiplication, it's got to work with division too. So I might get a fraction. Let's say I've got, we'll say 16 over, we'll try 16/18. Okay, this fraction can be simplified, is what we would say, or reduced. Your parents might say reduced. I would say simplified because that's just what we've done. Actually, here we go. So I have to find what I can divide both of them by. Now, this is when we were finding the greatest common factor. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find the greatest common factor of 16 and 18. That way, I just have to divide this one time and don't have to keep dividing. So I happen to know that the greatest common factor here is going to be 2. Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2. Yeah, I was right. Thinking I was mistaken, and I was mistaken. Okay, so 16 divided by 2 is 8. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we have simplified this fraction and made it 8/9. So 8/9 and 16/18 are equivalent. This is how we find equivalent fractions. We can either multiply or we can divide. All right. So if you need to watch through this again, try a few of these on your own, and then work the attached document that I've left with this.